We don't need to tell you the new San Andreas movie is absurd. No matter how much Paul Giamatti tries to convince us otherwise with his grave voiceover.
And you will feel it on the East Coast.
No one on the East Coast is going to feel an earthquake on the West Coast. A tsunami is not going to take out the Golden Gate Bridge. The Rock is not our only hope. But as with most B-movies, San Andreas does piggyback on real-life fears.
Are you hurt?
And you won't find many people from the West Coast who aren't familiar with the concept of the big one. California has hundreds of major fault lines beneath its surface. The 810-mile San Andreas is simply the most notorious. The U.S. Geological Survey says it's near certain there will be a big earthquake there in the next 30 years. The question is how big? The numbers break down like this. A 2015 report by the agency predicts that there will be an earthquake of a 6.7 magnitude every 6 years or so. That's about the size of the 1994 Northridge earthquake that killed nearly 60 people and caused billions in damage in the San Fernando Valley. A major earthquake by any standards. But for many researchers, a true big one is closer to the magnitude 7.9 quake that struck Fort Tejon in 1957, or the devastating 1906 earthquake in San Francisco. That quake killed nearly 3,000 people and leveled much of the city, leaving a historic scar that fuels worries to this day about the next big seismic event, including the occasional big-budget disaster movie. In the most recent report, the U.S. Geological Survey increased the odds of an event like this to 7%, up from 4.7% in 2008. The agency attributed the increased odds to the possibility of multiple faults rupturing at once. Because the two largest quakes of the last century or so occurred in North and Central California, some geologists predict that the next major quake will affect the southern part of the state, near Los Angeles and Palm Springs. Infrastructure continues to improve in and around the greater Los Angeles area, but U.S. geology officials say widespread disaster is still inevitable in that scenario. Despite all this, as Slate wrote in 2014, the science of earthquake prediction remains murky, since the systems that trigger different earthquakes are complex and difficult to model. There are probably faults in California that haven't even been discovered yet. We learned about one when it caused the 1994 Northridge quake, for instance. For now, we're simply left with an uncomfortable reality. We know that strain in the San Andreas fault mounts every year, but no one can say for certain when it will become too much.
I can't believe I have a fucking Academy Award and I'm calling you back!